dramatic and final title, End War, Ubisoft has made an effort to bring something new to the strategy genre. By focusing on a small number of units, a tight set of rules, and voice command technology, the latest game to bear Tom Clancy's name executes a killer strategy that demands attention. End War presents a loose scenario rather than a story. Russia has risen to power as an energy broker, the loosely bound European Union has become the formidable European Federation, and the United States has upset the international community by constructing an intimidating space station called the Freedom Star. One terrorist attack later, and the three superpowers are duking it out World War III style. It works as a setup, but if you're looking for drama and narrative, you'll want to pick up the novel. No matter which faction you play, the basic rules of End War are easy to understand. You want to secure satellite uplinks on the map to earn command points, which you can spend on deploying up to 12 units at once, or you can cash in those same points for support options like airstrikes. The victory objective depends on the battle type. Assault focuses on destroying units, Conquest has you securing and holding uplinks, and Siege requires the attacker to destroy crucial targets within a time limit, or be annihilated by a massive counterattack. Conquest is unique in that it incorporates a major strategic shift known as DEFCON 1. When one side holds the majority of the uplinks, a victory timer appears, and the losing side will have two options. They can crash the uplink, effectively taking it out of play, and launch their faction's WMD. Once one side drops their WMD, the other side is free to retaliate with theirs. They won't level a city, but they do pack a punch and cover a relatively large area. This shift to the game's balance keeps matches interesting and ensures that even if you're getting rolled, you'll at least get the chance to do some damage. There's a basic rock-paper-scissors relationship between units. Riflemen beat engineers, engineers can beat up on armor if they have cover, and tanks destroy anyone on open ground but lose to flying gunships, which are vulnerable to transport vehicles. It's understandable without being simplistic, and plenty of exceptions to the rules expand your potential tactics. Infantry can go toe-to-toe with anything if they're holed up inside a building, and vulnerable artillery can strike safely from a distance. Every faction uses the same types of units, but each superpower is slightly different. Generally speaking, the US is well-rounded with a focus on precision strikes. Europe is all about speed, and Russia's units are extra beefy. Past that, faction-specific upgrades you purchase in the barracks can help your units survive bad matchups, letting you personalize your strategy and making you care a little bit more about your high-tech force. Skirmish mode lets you set up a game instantly, otherwise each individual battle takes place in the broader context of a world map where the game's three factions battle for control of territory. The game's offline campaign mode and online theater of war mode are functionally identical, the only difference being that your online components are human. One-on-one and two-on-two matches are possible, and human players can team up with or against computer players. End War features a robust campaign and plenty of online options to scratch your strategic itch. Ubisoft has made a pretty big deal about the game's voice command features, and the good news is that you can actually believe the hype. The recognition worked very well, letting you quickly order advanced commands walkie-talkie style using simple sentences.
Unit 3, secure Alpha, and that's going to tell these guys to go and capture that objective point.
It's not required, and you can do everything with the controller, but voice controls are incredibly efficient and leave your hands free to manipulate the game's camera or focus on another task altogether. If you speak clearly and remember the commands, you get a lot out of it, and will prefer to play that way. It's a great control method, but whether you play it in front of other people is your call. You can view the field and target enemies from the viewpoint of individual units, which lets you observe battles and trigger special abilities. If you've deployed a command vehicle, you'll also have access to the big picture. No matter where your camera is, you'll have a solid idea of who's capturing what. There's a lot to think about in a typical match. Quickly sending in soldiers to secure uplinks is important, but you don't want to overextend yourself in the rush. You'll need to constantly remember the rock, paper, scissors unit balance and think carefully about how to spend your command points. Like other good strategy games, when you're working fast and efficiently, you'll feel like a powerful human computer designed for the sole purpose of ruthlessly crushing your enemies. Speaking of ruthless crushing, units in End War can gain experience to become more powerful, but they can also be taken out of the game permanently. You can order a damaged unit to evacuate, but when a unit goes down, transport choppers are automatically dispatched to pick up survivors. Extractions don't take long, but a focused follow-up attack could finish them for good. Thankfully, losing a unit isn't the end of the world, which keeps the risk and reward levels enjoyable. Upgrades you purchase are applied to new units as soon as they reach the required rank, but it takes several battles to get a recruit back up to speed. Human players may or may not invest the extra time and effort to go for the final kill, but the computer doesn't go out of their way to grief you.
Russia spends billions on the biggest arms buildup since the Cold War.
End War has a clean, high-tech war room presentation that fits with the futuristic military vibe of the game. The color-coded look is easy to understand, and situations are always verbally explained in appropriate, if ever so slightly hammy, international accents.
Satellite imaging shows tanks offloading from the ship and moving to attack our uplinks along the Adriatic coast.
There are a few cutscenes, but because the game isn't story-driven, you probably aren't going to miss them. After all, you've got a world war to fight.
The end has begun.
On the battlefield, things are a bit more chaotic. Looking from an individual unit's camera view can give you a good look at the action, letting you pan around or zoom in on targets where you can observe the battle behavior of individual units. Unit detail is clearly the highlight. The core visuals suit the game's needs, but the environments and their limited destructibility aren't particularly impressive on their own. End War is a polished, innovative game that does a great job pairing its impressive voice command feature with a focused, fast-paced design. It doesn't flat-out require that you talk to your game system, but it does reward you for trying out a new way to play. The game essentially plays the same whether online or not, but the number of strategies and counter-strategies gives the game legs. End War is console strategy done uniquely and done right.